Okay, this is big. Long live the king. I think we got new king in the town. Sony 28-70 F2 G Master. Yes, this lens is simply amazing. Let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Rafał. I am from Poland and my main goal here on this channel is improve my English skills in content creation. So stay with me if you wanna see how things go in the future. But before we start, quick disclaimer, this lens was sent to me for testing from Sony Poland for about 3 weeks and I love this lens, but unfortunately it's expensive. Let's start with my first impression about this lens. After release, when I see every video on YouTube about this lens, my feelings was mixed because this lens is big and heavy and I thought that this lens is not for me because of the size and weight, simply as that. F2 is amazing, the construction is G Master level class of course, there is nothing to complain about this lens. Besides, of course, the price, because it's expensive and new. But when I received the package with that lens, that body, A7CR, I must admit the first impression in real world was for me really surprised because I knew that the lens is weight about 1 kilo, but in my hands, I don't feel it. Really, this is amazing how Sony managed to distribute the weight of this lens so good. Even with small body, I can already say the whole day of shooting is no problem for me. One thing is for sure, this lens is big, but in my opinion it's a good thing, because when I was testing this lens on the field, on the restaurant, I was really surprised that people come to me and ask something, not with curiosity, but they wanna do some work. For example, let's go for car shooting, let's go for the portrait shooting, and for my surprise, even let's go some food shooting. So the clientele was looking for that lens, and for me, okay, this lens is big, so this guy is probably the pro. So this is positive side of this lens. The specification of this lens and ergonomics is on the G Master level. We can find basically everything that Sony putting on the newest lens, starting with the lens hood. Lens hood have a locking mechanism. So next we have also on the lens hood the doors. The front glass is big because this lens is 86mm for filters. Good thing, focus ring and rubber on it is very good, no complaint about that. Next to the focus ring we can find smooth and tight switch, the two custom buttons and switch for autofocus and manual focus. Of course the zoom ring is big and nice, the throw is short, in my opinion it's good. On the smooth settings the zoom is turning really like butter. Of course there is aperture ring which can be locked, and also we can switch to clicking or not, so video work is really nice here. Last thing, the rubber. Yes, this lens is water seat like tank, there is no problem here at all. And handling this lens, like I mentioned in my first impression, very good. The distribution of the lens, like you see, is very good on the 20mm and also on the 70mm. Like you see the working on the gimbal, probably this lens is perfect. The important thing for me is the focus ring. And this is very good focus ring because it's a linear response. Basically, it means that on manual focus, you can repeat the pull focus from A to B in every situation. So this is good thing. Focus breathing is also well controlled on this lens. Not perfect because it's visible, but it's minimal. So this is plus for this lens and video shooters. In the focus department, I can already say probably one of the biggest downside of this lens is close focusing. The close focusing on the 70mm and 28mm is basically the same. We can go to the object on the same distance, but on this close distance, the sharpness is going to down. It's still decent for my taste, is completely manageable and usable, but you need to remember that sharpness is going down. And also, this lens is not quite parafocal. When we set manual focus on 70mm and turn down zoom ring to 28, we can already see the focus is okay, is a little bit off in that situation. But when we set focus on 28 and go to the 70mm, there is big difference. There is no sharpness at all. The focus is missed. So you need to remember that lens is not parafocal. Aberration, the locale on F2 is decent. In my opinion, there is no problem to working with that. But the beauty of this lens is we can go further with f-stop. For example, on F2.8, we can already see the locale is better. So you need to remember, if you don't like that looking locale, that aberration, go and use bigger f-stops. Distortion in this lens with no profile in Lightroom on 70mm is very good. Going to the 28, we can already see the distortion is a little bit kicking, but using the profile or correction completely solve that problem. SUNSTARS on this lens is quite nice because of the 11 aperture ring here. Going to the flares, I can already say in some situation in harsh lighting, the flare can ruin the photo, so we need watch out for the flares in some situation in strong light. The sharpness of this lens on f2 is simply amazing. In the center, on the whole range of the zoom is perfect. On the 70mm, on the corners also the sharpness is perfect. But going to the 28, we can already see the corners are a little bit soft because probably of the distortion here. But you need to remember that we probably here is going too far and that sharpness is completely fine on the whole image. The bokeh on this lens, on the f2, I simply love it. On the whole range, we can already see the transition from the sharpness and the bokeh is really nice. There is no complaint from my side here. If you are going a little bit be nitpicky, you can already see the bokeh balls are quite onion ring here. So if you don't like it, you need probably go for the primes to nivellate that. For example, new 85 or 50. It depends what you like here. And last but not least, the active stabilization of this lens and vlogging situation on that lens with that weight is a little bit tough because field of view is a little bit tight and hand is going quick really fast. So we need probably work out with this lens. 1 kilo is okay for that. The field of view and active stabilization, I think, is on the acceptable side. If you wanna do with that lens, the vlogging is possible, in my opinion. In the summary, I can already tell this lens is the new king in the town. And I can tell with clear mind, with no complaint, this lens is better than Canon lens. I mean, Sony is lighter, smaller, sharper, faster. Basically everything we put here is better than the Canon. One downside of this lens is probably the price. This lens is simply expensive. You need to remember that. But if you want to invest in that lens, you will be very happy to own it. Unfortunately, I can afford that lens for now, so I will go for standard zoom, and after that review I need send it back to the Sony Poland. I'm sad. This lens is really the king. In the end, let me know what you think about this lens in the comment section. From my side is everything. See ya next time.